A scandal is brewing behind the scenes of the British monarchy, threatening to shake its centuries-old grandeur. What was once confined to fringe internet communities, like a faint whisper among conspiracy theorists, is now breaking into the open. With a force comparable to an explosion beneath the ancient walls of Buckingham Palace, this accusation is bursting into the public consciousness of the United Kingdom, astonishing many. From the shadows of obscurity, a woman identified as DL has emerged with a bombshell claim. She alleges that she is the surrogate mother of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children. Her words, capable of shaking the royal family to its core, were not uttered in anonymous online forums or tabloid newspapers. The woman who dared to make such a sensational accusation appeared before the public with a composed demeanor, exuding unshakable confidence and no doubt whatsoever in her claims. Crucially, her statement is reportedly backed by a formidable array of irrefutable evidence. According to her, she possesses not only medical records from healthcare facilities meticulously confirming her presence and all procedures performed, but also detailed financial transaction statements and signed non-disclosure agreements dating back to late 2018. Her public declaration was crystal clear and categorical, leaving no room for ambiguity. I was guaranteed the strictest confidentiality and fair compensation. Instead, I was simply erased, as if I never existed. This was not a desperate cry for revenge, or an emotional outburst of momentary weakness. Rather, it appeared to be a meticulously planned move by someone who had clearly prepared for a long time for this fateful step, the consequences of which could be truly colossal. The sudden appearance of this individual in the public sphere triggered a domino effect, instantly spreading across the global media universe. An incredible number of social media users worldwide immediately turned to archives to re-examine old video footage, which purportedly showed signs of Meghan's pregnancy. Footage that previously only elicited sarcastic smirks and served as a target for mockery, dismissed as crude fakery or careless editing, has now become the subject of meticulous, almost detective-like scrutiny. Those very moments when Meghan's belly appeared unnaturally distorted when she tried to sit down, or aroused suspicion due to its fluctuating shape over several days, are now being meticulously reviewed and actively discussed on popular platforms like TikTok and Reddit. However, the depth of this story goes far beyond simple visual anomalies. DL, as she herself asserts, did not act as an egg donor and was not involved in any secret surrogacy program. She states with unwavering certainty that she carried both pregnancies to term, both Archie and Lilibet. Furthermore, she claims that throughout the entire period of carrying the children, she was kept in strict isolation and under constant surveillance. And what is particularly alarming, according to her, she did not receive proper medical care after giving birth and had to contend with a severe form of postpartum preeclampsia, which posed a direct threat to her life. I wasn't a person to them, I was just a vessel. These pain-filled words, as reported by a journalist who managed to meet her in person, have become known to the wider public. This explosive and truly astonishing accusation was supported by substantial evidence: SMS correspondence, medical reports, detailed doctor visit schedules, courier delivery records, and, most importantly, payment documents unequivocally indicating her connection to Meghan's team. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have yet to issue official comments. However, according to information from their legal team, the situation is close to chaos. Lawyers are reportedly sending out warnings of defamation lawsuits, and television companies have unofficially received letters demanding they refrain from broadcasting material featuring DL. Despite this, sources report that at least 2 major television channels have already recorded interviews with her and are preparing to release them after legal matters are resolved. DL's scandalous assertion not only casts a shadow on the good name of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but also calls into question the fundamental foundations of the monarchy, the sacred order of succession. If the allegations of surrogacy regarding the couple's children are true, and the public was misled about the circumstances of their birth, then this is about far more than just a breach of privacy. Such deception could lead to serious legal repercussions, casting doubt on the legitimacy of the heir's rights to the throne, which could result in unpredictable upheavals for the British monarchy. Of particular concern is the fact that the births of Archie and Lilibet bypassed traditional royal protocols that have accompanied the arrival of heirs to the throne for centuries. There were no usual photo opportunities at the hospital doors, no official statements from doctors, and even the name of the medical facility where these significant events occurred was kept secret. An atmosphere of suspicious secrecy surrounded the birth of the Sussex children, which inevitably raises questions. Prince Harry's first public appearance with the joyful news of Archie's birth took place against the backdrop of a stable, without the newborn's mother, medical personnel, or the usual BBC equipment. Beaming, he uttered a brief statement about the child's arrival. At the time, this was explained as the couple's natural desire to shield their family from public scrutiny. Today, however, these events are increasingly interpreted as part of a cleverly devised strategy to conceal the truth. Several months after Archie's birth, when his birth certificate was finally presented to the public, an interesting detail emerged. His mother's name, Rachel Meghan Markle, had been replaced by the official title Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Initially, this change was explained as a mere formality, devoid of any hidden motives. Nevertheless, analysts and observers now speculate that this step was taken to prevent a potential legal conflict. Listing Meghan as the biological mother in this official document could have later been considered a deliberate misrepresentation of information if she was not, in fact, the biological mother. Against a backdrop of growing public skepticism towards the Sussexes, a complex and multifaceted drama is unfolding. Public opinion polls show a sharp decline in trust in Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in both the UK and the United States, indicating a deep crisis in their public image. Their narrative of rebellion against royal traditions, pursuit of personal freedom, and overcoming adversity, as outlined in their candid memoirs, increasingly raises doubts and suspicions of artificiality and even deliberate deception. According to palace insiders, the question of the Sussex children has, for the first time in a long while, ceased to be merely a subject of backstage conversations and has taken on the character of a serious legal problem. Should certain information be confirmed, the consequences could be very severe, potentially leading to the children being stripped of their titles or excluded from the line of succession. Such a development would undermine the image of openness and honesty that the Sussexes have so meticulously cultivated. Their silence in the current situation is perceived by many as an indirect admission of guilt. For the royal family, this has become an unexpected and unprecedented crisis, which seems to be gaining momentum, threatening to result in serious upheavals for the monarchy. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any words. The annals of monarchical houses are replete with scandalous episodes, and this is by no means a modern phenomenon. However, it is truly rare for serious accusations, backed by evidence and specific names, to remain unanswered. Meghan and Prince Harry have remained silent on the case of DL, the woman who claims she carried their children, and this widespread silence fuels growing public distrust. In the past, the Sussexes acted swiftly in similar situations. Criticism of Meghan's appearance during her pregnancy immediately prompted extensive interviews. Public debates sparked by Netflix content were accompanied by personal comments. Allegations of staff mistreatment led to official press releases. But now there is silence. No statements, no public appearances, no demonstrative gestures. This silence no longer appears to be a strategy, but rather a state of paralysis in the face of an approaching storm. Behind the scenes of the famous couple's life, if insider information is to be believed, a true drama is unfolding. Lawyers are working tirelessly, seeking court injunctions to prevent the publication of any materials and sending angry warnings to news outlets. According to some reports, direct threats of lawsuits are being made against those who consider interviewing DL. Amidst this flurry of activity, outward silence is maintained, which, however, in the context of growing public interest, appears as an indirect but quite obvious admission. Meghan's PR team, previously known for its assertive and even aggressive media engagement, has now seemingly retreated into the shadows. Not a single new post appears on social media. There are no announcements. The podcast has been paused. Accounts are frozen in anticipation. According to an influential publication, brands that previously collaborated with Meghan on lifestyle projects have temporarily halted all joint activities. Public concern is growing regarding Prince Harry's behavior. Insiders report his extreme instability, reclusiveness, and systematic refusal to participate in scheduled events. A former staff member, intimately familiar with the situation, highlights his exhausted state, speaking of insomnia and a feeling of betrayal. This deep emotional crisis sharply contrasts with the image of a loving husband, caring father, and devoted family protector that Prince Harry has diligently cultivated. In the public eye, he is evading responsibility, and this prolonged silence only exacerbates the damage to his reputation. Surprisingly, not a single official denial has been issued to date. This isn't about a lengthy public statement, but at least a concise communiqué from their press office. The lack of comments from the prince himself, members of the royal family, or medical institutions creates a vast information vacuum that is immediately filled with rumors, theories, and conjectures. Online, videos are proliferating that analyze Meghan Markle's behavior during her pregnancies. Experts discuss the shape of her belly, her movements, and size variations, turning what once seemed absurd into potential evidence. Amidst the escalating information storm, only one figure is taking an active stance: DL. She boldly declares her readiness to undergo a DNA test at an independent laboratory, provide full sworn testimony, and grant investigators access to all her documents. Journalists who have had the opportunity to speak with her note that DL is not simply unafraid of court, but is actively seeking it. As she asserts, when truth is on your side, there's nothing to fear. This contrast significantly influences public opinion. One side demonstrates openness and willingness to cooperate, while the other prefers to evade and remain silent. In the public eye, such behavior is perceived as an admission of guilt, or at least an inability to provide convincing arguments in their defense. Even Meghan and Harry's most loyal supporters are beginning to express concern, asking increasingly pointed questions. Bloggers who previously actively defended them are now demanding explanations. Some podcasts that previously expressed support for them are deleting old episodes. Influential Hollywood figures are maintaining a striking silence, which runs counter to their usual public activity. Such a lull rarely bodes well, especially in an era where an information vacuum is instantly filled with speculation. Every day of silence generates an avalanche of interpretations, making the situation extremely dangerous, not only for the couple's reputation, but also for the entire royal family. If the truth is not presented by the interested parties, public opinion will formulate it, which is rarely fair. Protocol versus truth. Who broke the rules? The British royal family operates within strict protocols. Every name, signature, and date must be documented, publicized, and recorded in historical chronicles. Should the sensational claim by a woman named Dale regarding her role in the birth of Archie and Lilibet be confirmed, the British monarchy will face an unprecedented challenge, unlike anything in its recent history. While surrogacy itself is not against UK law, in the context of royal succession, this issue takes on not only medical but also profound legal and, most importantly, constitutional significance. Current regulations require that all members in the direct line of succession to the throne have legitimate and biologically confirmed parentage, supported by a complete set of documents containing precise information about the parents, as well as the place and method of birth. In the circumstances surrounding the births of Archie and Lilibet, certain peculiarities have long been observed, raising questions among the public. Specifically, the absence of the traditional photo opportunity at the hospital doors, an integral attribute of royal births as seen with William and Kate, is notable. The mysterious silence regarding the name of the medical facility where the births occurred also causes considerable bewilderment, leading to further speculation and conjecture. As aptly noted by commentators from the influential newspaper The Times, there was excessive ambiguity and a lack of specificity surrounding Archie's birth, which ran contrary to the need for absolute precision and openness. A birth document that raised numerous questions came into focus. In this certificate, issued some time after the baby's birth, Meghan's full name was absent. Instead of the expected Rachel Meghan Markle, it simply read Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. While this ambiguity previously caused only vague bewilderment, many now perceive such phrasing as a likely attempt to evade certain legal obligations, presumably related to the issue of motherhood. According to authoritative legal experts, if it is confirmed that Meghan intentionally signed official documents identifying herself as the mother when she was not biologically so, this could be considered forgery or falsification of official records. Furthermore, if Prince Harry was aware of these circumstances and participated in creating such a scheme, his reputation in the UK would also be severely jeopardized. In monarchical systems, hereditary titles are not an automatic gift of fate, but rather a privilege reserved for descendants born within a legal marriage and possessing impeccably confirmed lineage. Consequently, public concerns have arisen regarding the status of Archie and Lilibet, whose right to the throne could be called into question if rumors of their birth being staged without proper documentation are confirmed. Prominent constitutional experts are sounding the alarm, foreseeing far-reaching consequences. Should a court case or independent legal expertise prove the use of unacknowledged surrogacy, it would not only lead to a review of Archie and Lilibet's titles, but, more importantly, could result in their exclusion from the direct line of succession, thereby setting an unprecedented precedent. A recent statement by Queen Elizabeth II's former press secretary on radio, which gained widespread public resonance, underscored the gravity of the situation. If official documents are found to contain false information about motherhood, this could provoke an unprecedented identity crisis in the history of the British monarchy, comparable only to the abdication of Edward VIII. Despite the absence of official comments from the palace, it is known that a thorough internal legal review is currently underway. One of King Charles III's most trusted advisers emphasized the monarchy's determination to protect its institutions, stating that if the facts are confirmed, regardless of the individuals involved, the most decisive measures will be taken. Observers and competent analysts highlight several likely trajectories for the unfolding situation. Firstly, there is the probable stripping of titles. Archie and Lilibet could theoretically be stripped of their right to bear the honorary titles of prince and princess if it is proven that the circumstances of their birth, to some extent, contradicted established royal traditions and regulations. Secondly, there is the possibility of their complete exclusion from the order of succession. If it is legally confirmed that their lineage does not comply with strict historical rules of power transfer, they could be definitively removed from the list of potential heirs to the crown. And thirdly, the most severe scenario is a complete cessation of relations with the Sussexes. Should their culpability be proven, the reigning monarch may decide to sever all remaining official ties with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, marking a definitive separation. The last of these scenarios is undoubtedly the most severe. However, numerous informed sources report that the royal family's patience has reached a critical limit. The situation is exacerbated by the fact that His Majesty King Charles III is currently battling a serious illness, and Prince William and Kate Middleton, the current Prince and Princess of Wales, have taken on the bulk of public duties to maintain the monarchy's reputation and authority. The royal family simply cannot afford another high-profile scandal, comparable in scale to the situation surrounding Prince Andrew, especially since in this case, it could escalate into an international crisis affecting interstate relations. At present, Buckingham Palace maintains complete silence, refraining from any official denials or public statements. However, behind the scenes, a flurry of activity is underway. Intensive meetings are being held with prominent lawyers, seasoned historians, and respected archivists. Ancient documents are being carefully examined, dates meticulously compared, and various scenarios for an official response are being developed, depending on whether Dale decides to present her evidence in court or provide sworn testimony. Should such a scenario unfold, the UK faces an unprecedented constitutional case in the last 7 decades, capable of fundamentally altering the country's legal history. Behind the outward splendor of the Montecito mansion, resembling a fairy tale castle, lies a deep internal conflict, transforming it into a hotbed of suspicion and tension. Magnificent facades, immaculate landscapes, a robust security system, and an atmosphere of complete isolation create the impression of a perfect sanctuary. However, behind these impenetrable walls, as numerous sources claim, what is unfolding is not just a crisis, but a true family tragedy. Since the scandalous details related to Dale leaked to the press, relations between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, according to observers, have reached a boiling point, creating a suffocating atmosphere. Reporters from authoritative publications like The Sun and Radar Online report a growing chasm between the couple. Their morning and evening routines are now strictly segregated, unfolding in entirely different corners of their luxurious estate. Prince Harry prefers the solitude of his ground-floor study, where, according to staff, he spends hours in heavy silence in front of his laptop screen, avoiding all interaction. Duchess Meghan, conversely, spends most of her time strolling through the picturesque garden or engaging with the children in a specially equipped playroom, which appears to be intentionally isolated from the main living areas. The roots of such obvious discord in their union, it seems, lie in their fundamentally opposing strategies for overcoming the looming crisis. According to an anonymous source close to the SAS Royal Foundation, Prince Harry firmly advocated for an immediate public statement and a comprehensive analysis of the situation under the guidance of experienced lawyers and medical experts. At the same time, Meghan categorically rejected such an approach, fearing that acknowledging the scandal could trigger an unpredictable chain reaction capable of destroying everything they had meticulously built over the years. This fundamental disagreement became the first serious test for their seemingly ideal relationship. For Harry, With his military intelligence background and upbringing in a spirit of strict responsibility, such accusations naturally prompted a desire for an immediate and decisive response. He sought full transparency, a thorough investigation, and a definitive resolution to the problem. Meghan, conversely, adhered to a strategy of total information control, presenting only information that bolstered their public image and suppressing everything else. The culmination of this conflict was the dissemination by American television channel NBC of information about a potential appearance by a woman named Dale on a popular evening talk show. Insiders claim that Prince Harry expressed a desire to meet with the show's producers to personally present his perspective and clarify matters. However, Meghan resolutely prevented this, fearing that any reaction from them, even the most sincere, would only lend credence to the surrogate's claims in the public eye. However, what causes far greater concern is not the difference in approaches, but the deep emotional turmoil overwhelming Prince Harry. According to those who have recently spoken with him, he is immersed in a state of deep apathy and despondency. He feels like a victim of deception and experiences enormous uncertainty about what is happening. One of the couple's former friends, previously closely connected to Harry's circle, noted that the prince is for the first time asking a fundamental question, full of existential dread: where is the truth? This prolonged crisis, unfortunately, inevitably affects his children as well. Archie and Lilibet, despite their young age, keenly sense the growing tension in the family. According to their nanny, the children have become noticeably more anxious. Archie, in particular, suffers from insomnia and often wakes up in tears. An atmosphere of anxiety and general uncertainty seems to permeate every corner of their home, creating a depressing environment. In addition to the internal disagreements, like storm clouds gathering over the couple, their external business ties are also steadily weakening, only adding fuel to their difficult situation. For instance, streaming giant Netflix, with whom the Sussexes previously had a lucrative multi-million-dollar contract, has paused work on the second season of their documentary project. This move is undoubtedly an alarming sign, foreshadowing upcoming changes in their professional trajectory. In turn, media corporation Spotify has made a final decision to cease all negotiations regarding a possible renewal of their podcast agreement, thereby closing a promising door for future collaboration. Furthermore, even the influential fashion house Dior, which only recently lauded Meghan Markle, calling her an epitome of modern elegance, has promptly removed all materials dedicated to her style from its Instagram accounts. This chain of events significantly increases the financial pressure on the couple. It was recently revealed that a significant portion of funds from their Archewell Charity Foundation has been directed towards paying for legal and consulting services in the U.S. and U.K. A troubling and perilous situation is emerging. The cost of doing business is steadily rising, while profit prospects are noticeably diminishing. The situation is exacerbated by a burgeoning scandal, at the heart of which is an individual known by the pseudonym Dale. This incident threatens not only a severe blow to reputation, but also tangible financial ruin. Parallel to these external threats, tensions are escalating in the relationship between Meghan and her mother, Doria Ragland. Doria, who has always been a steadfast pillar of support for her daughter in difficult times, is now reportedly expressing serious concerns about the chosen strategy of complete silence. Her primary fear is that intimate family secrets could be unexpectedly exposed to a multi-million audience. Amidst this unfolding drama and deepening crisis, Prince Harry, according to insiders, has begun actively re-establishing lost connections with certain members of the royal family residing in London. Princess Eugenie remains a key figure, her loyalty to Prince Harry serving as a strong bridge between the Sussexes and the British royal family. She plays a crucial diplomatic role in maintaining ties between the parties. Rumors are circulating behind the scenes about Prince Harry's possible imminent visit to the UK. It is speculated that this visit will be brief, unofficial, and strictly private. Their luxurious Montecito estate, once considered an impregnable fortress ensuring privacy, has lost its aura of inviolability. It now more closely resembles a battlefield, characterized by anxiety, distrust, and incessant mutual accusations. Harry and Meghan, once appearing as a model of media harmony and unity, are now balancing on the brink of collapse, not only of their public image, but also of their personal relationship. An unprecedented legal storm has erupted, accompanied by a fierce battle for public opinion. This began with a sensational statement from a woman, identified by the initials DL, claiming she allegedly carried Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's children. Following this, events unfolded with lightning speed, taking on an increasingly aggressive legal tone. The distinguished legal team representing the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, previously known for their firmness and uncompromising stance in numerous tabloid lawsuits, now faces an unprecedented and complex case. At stake are not only financial payouts and scandalous publications, but also the legitimacy of the lineage and the impeccable ancestry of the heirs to the royal throne. After DL's initial public statements, various materials, including scans of non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, purportedly signed between her and individuals associated with the Archewell Foundation, rapidly spread online. According to several legal experts, confirmation of these documents' authenticity could serve as irrefutable evidence of a deliberate attempt to conceal the fact of surrogacy. Such actions, in their opinion, represent a conscious circumvention of both established societal moral principles and, potentially, strict legal norms obligatory for members of the royal family. The Sussexes' response was swift and remarkably firm. Authorized representatives from their charitable foundation immediately dispatched official notices demanding the cessation of further dissemination of inaccurate, defamatory, and harmful information. These messages were addressed not only to DL directly, but also to leading global media corporations. According to available information, by the beginning of the current week, the total number of such letters, reinforced by direct warnings of potential legal proceedings, exceeded 14. However, contrary to expectations, such uncompromising measures led to a result diametrically opposite to what was desired. Instead of tempering their zeal and remaining silent, the media, on the contrary, intensified their own independent investigations. For example, one influential British television channel began creating a large-scale documentary that will reveal previously unknown aspects of the Sussexes' lives. Concurrently, another TV channel is actively negotiating with two former employees who were part of Meghan's team between 2018 and 2020. These individuals have expressed willingness to share information, but on the condition of strict anonymity. In response to the situation, lawyers acting on behalf of the Sussexes immediately took active steps, filing urgent motions with the courts in California and New York. The primary objective of these appeals was to obtain a comprehensive injunction preventing DL from participating in any television projects or disclosing any materials capable of shedding light on the details of Archie and Lilibet's births. These legal steps were taken with the stated aim of protecting the privacy of the ducal couple. However, prominent human rights experts swiftly reacted to these actions, expressing their disagreement with such tactics. They openly stated that the Sussexes' efforts appear less as a sincere desire to safeguard their personal sphere from external interference and more as clear pressure on a potential key witness in the case. The most resounding and widespread public reaction was triggered by the statement from DL's lawyer. In his public address, he firmly emphasized, "My client is fully prepared to provide compelling evidence of the children's origin. She has committed no unlawful acts. All she did was break her vow of silence." In turn, DL, as she stated in an interview with a local news agency, expressed unreserved consent to undergo independent genetic testing. Emphasizing her readiness for maximum openness, she proposed arranging this procedure in the presence of a notary, competent medical professionals, and representatives of the press. Moreover, DL strongly urged Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to undergo a similar procedure. In her opinion, only such a comprehensive and objective approach will definitively establish the children's true parentage, putting an end to any further rumors and speculation. From this point on, the legal conflict has taken on a threatening character for all involved parties. Should the U.S. or U.K. courts decide to fully hear this case, the British monarchy will be unable to avoid participation in a legal process that will inevitably attract global attention. During the upcoming proceedings, a significant volume of documents, witness testimonies, and medical reports are expected to be officially requested, which risks an unprecedented leak of confidential information that even influential monarchical figures will be unable to stop. In addition to the escalating legal pressure, the situation is complicated by internal contradictions. According to a reputable publication, a group of former Archewell Foundation employees and individuals close to Doria Ragland are expressing willingness to testify in court. This step is not driven by a desire to harm the couple, but, they claim, by their patience being exhausted due to the incessant stream of lies. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's legal team, according to insider sources, faces an extremely difficult dilemma. Public and categorical refutation of all accusations will require the provision of irrefutable evidence capable of dispelling any doubts. At the same time, continuing a strategy of silence only intensifies suspicion and speculation. Exploring the possibility of settling the conflict with DL out of court could be interpreted by the public as a tacit acknowledgement of the validity of the accusations, or even as indirect confirmation of guilt. Meanwhile, an open trial risks an unprecedented international scandal that could elicit widespread global reaction. In this situation of deep uncertainty and growing tension, not only the couple themselves, but also the entire royal family, are experiencing immense pressure. The legal department at Sandringham House has initiated a thorough internal review of all official statements and documents related to the births of Archie and Lilibet. As part of this work, a detailed analysis of the content on the official Royal UK website for the relevant years is being conducted. These actions clearly indicate that Buckingham Palace does not intend to take responsibility for the Sussexes' actions, especially given their voluntary relinquishment of royal duties. According to authoritative experts, the current crisis represents a unique precedent where deeply ingrained principles of jurisprudence enter into sharp and irreconcilable confrontation with centuries-old traditions of royal protocol. This clash of interests threatens not only significant damage to the reputation of the involved parties, but also the formation of a historically significant legal precedent. From now on, every newborn member of the royal family will be subject to meticulous and comprehensive analysis under the close scrutiny of both the legal system and genetic experts. Against this alarming backdrop, DL continues her active public engagement, showing no signs of intending to disappear from public view or hide in any way. On the contrary, her behavior is marked by emphasized openness and even defiant provocation. In one of her recent statements, she unequivocally declared, "I fear absolutely nothing." She then posed a rhetorical question that prompts reflection. If they truly have nothing to hide, why are they so afraid of me? This question casts doubt on the motives and intentions of her opponents, adding tension to an already complex situation. A legal storm is brewing on the horizon, where the decisive word in establishing the truth is shifting from the media to an impartial court, an institution that demands irrefutable evidence and is averse to theatrical effects. The British monarchy finds itself at a crossroads of unprecedented trials, where a once unblemished history threatens to turn into a dark menace. For centuries, the royal house served as an unshakable bastion of stability, embodying ancient traditions, aristocratic composure, and unwavering resilience, especially during periods of political and social unrest. However, the current crisis unfolding around Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and their children, if all accusations are confirmed, could become the most serious and unprecedented challenge to the legitimacy of the British monarchy since the abdication of King Edward VIII. The captivating saga, which began as an inspiring story of love and personal freedom, is inexorably transforming into a direct threat to the core and fundamental principles of the royal institution. The situation that has unfolded around the individual, purportedly the surrogate mother, identified by the initials DL, has highlighted something more than just a trivial family dispute or a complex web of legal technicalities. It has cast a dark shadow of doubt on the fundamental principle of transparency and accountability, which serves as the unshakable foundation of the modern monarchy in the 21st century. Should a meticulous investigation confirm that the birth of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's heirs was marred by the falsification of official documents, the deliberate concealment of vital circumstances, or a blatant disregard for established protocol norms, then the ensuing crisis risks becoming not only a colossal blow to the Crown's reputation, but, in essence, transforming into a full-scale institutional collapse. In monarchical systems, children are not merely blood descendants, but also serve as an unshakable support and fundamental guarantee of the continuity and inviolability of the ruling dynasty. Their birth is traditionally governed by strict rules and procedures, illuminated by close public scrutiny, occurs in the presence of official witnesses, and is subject to subsequent meticulous registration. This is precisely why the circumstances surrounding the births of Archie and Lilibet have, from the very beginning, stirred a wave of questions and genuine bewilderment in society, which have now escalated into direct and very serious accusations. Buckingham Palace, previously silent regarding the Sussexes, has initiated a thorough internal review. According to insiders, Prince William and Princess Kate's team is developing a strategy for a complete information blockade of Meghan and Harry should all claims be confirmed. This meticulously planned strategy includes harsh sanctions, exclusion of their children from the line of succession, stripping of all titles, and denial of invitations to royal jubilees, state ceremonies, and other important events. However, the true horizons of this conflict extend far beyond what could have been initially imagined. The resounding scandal that has unfolded around the figure known as DL has served as a bright spotlight, illuminating a deeply rooted problem. The monarchy, in its unwavering determination to protect the inviolability of private life, has inadvertently become the architect of an information vacuum. This gaping void was instantly filled with a colorful mosaic of assumptions and conjectures. And, if previously unclear episodes could have been interpreted as an expression of noble motives or sincere concern for preserving personal space, now any degree of secrecy is perceived as a deliberate attempt to conceal the truth from the public eye. Currently, British society is divided into two warring camps. Proponents of traditional values insistently call for the immediate intervention of His Majesty King Charles. At the same time, representatives of the younger generation are steadfastly demanding comprehensive and unconditional transparency, implying the disclosure of the entire body of official documentation, both in healthcare and legal spheres. Influential media representatives are joining forces to send an official request to the royal palace, demanding clarification regarding compliance with all legal norms in the registration of Archie and Lilibet's births. In the absence of an exhaustive answer, public outrage could shift to Parliament, threatening open hearings and an even larger public debate. This escalating scandal is causing global repercussions, undermining trust in Harry and Meghan in the United States, where they are building their careers and public image. Major media corporations and publishers who previously actively collaborated with them are now refusing to renew contracts. Society, weary of half-truths, demands clear answers. At the epicenter of these dramatic events, the centuries-old monarchy has unexpectedly found itself. An influential institution that was supposed to rise above political squabbles and everyday troubles has become embroiled in a fierce clash of identities, disputes over origins, and a deep crisis of trust. The story of the Duke and Duchess, who left the palace walls in search of independence, has transformed into a dark drama, where they are forced to hide behind lawyers, fearing an answer to the question of their children's true parents. The Dale saga is not just a scandalous exposé, but a mirror reflecting the fragility of the modern monarchy. If Buckingham Palace fails to provide clear explanations, this symbolic mirror could shatter, which would be a catastrophe for the institution. Prince Harry, who experienced the tragic death of his mother due to press pressure, risks losing public trust. Meghan, previously a symbol of progress and feminism, could become the embodiment of deceit in the post-truth era. Nevertheless, it is precisely this high-profile scandal that could become a unique opportunity for the monarchy to re-evaluate its role, to undergo radical transformations, and to shed accumulated secrets, paving the way for a new era. An era based on honesty and openness, not on fear and secrets, on accountability to the people, not on suppression. Buckingham Palace remains silent for now, but in that silence, approaching changes can already be felt. The situation, which began as a rumor, has quickly escalated into one of the most serious crises for the British monarchy. Dale's accusations, claiming she was the surrogate mother for Harry and Meghan's children, cast doubt on their image and the legitimacy of the Sussex heir's origins. Amidst these extremely serious allegations, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's eloquent silence becomes increasingly conspicuous, with each passing day devoid of official comments or refutations. Such a lack of reaction steadily erodes their already shaky reputation, irrevocably destroying any remaining public trust. This, in turn, greatly amplifies the already immense pressure on Buckingham Palace. This legal conflict is gaining momentum not only in America, but also in the UK, where respected lawyers unanimously warn, if all stated accusations and facts are confirmed, it could lead to the most serious and unpredictable consequences, including the exclusion of Archie and Lilibet from the direct line of succession to the British throne. Internal disagreements between Harry and Meghan, growing financial pressure, the alienation of old friends, and Dale's firm resolve to seek a legal resolution, all these factors together create a whirlpool that inexorably draws in all involved parties. The institution of monarchy, historically perceived as an unshakable symbol of stability and generational continuity, today faces a serious systemic crisis encompassing all its aspects. But paradoxically, it is precisely within this storm of public indignation that an opportunity for deep internal transformation, for a radical reevaluation of values, and for a courageous admission of the truth, however bitter it may be, lies. In the current climate, society is no longer willing to tolerate the suppression of information. It persistently demands complete, unambiguous, and comprehensive transparency. For if the monarchy loses public trust and moral authority, it risks becoming an outdated relic of the past, destined to remain merely a page in history textbooks.